That's a great point, and that brings us to even these Celtics, because whenever you look at the spacing on the floor with them, the spacing is set by like movement. When you look at Boston, because nobody's just planted down there. Jason Tatum is 6'10". He doesn't plant himself in the post. He doesn't even plant himself in the mid range.
Al
He
Horford
plants
does
him.
it. Porzingis does it. The tallest guy on their team.
Never. And presumably he'll be back for game one of the finals. And I think it was probably one of those spots for the Celtics where if the situation was dire, he would have played, but now he's going to have an extra 9 days of rest. He's almost going to have like a month of it. Do you think, or do we think, that according to Pat Riley's, 4 Ps of it, does that say that this is the Celtics' year? Not that they have to win, but they should win.
It should, but the Kyrie factor with the Mavericks, we're presuming that the Mavericks are going to go on and face them, but that Luka has been to the conference finals before, and I think we're seeing that experience pay off for him in this series. Of course, this would be his first trip to the finals, but you've got a guy in Kyrie Irving who'd been there before, a guy who hit arguably the biggest shot in the history of the NBA in that three-pointer that he made to crown Game 7 of the 2016 NBA Finals. So he's got that experience. That incredible stat that he's undefeated in closeout games. I think, is it 14-0 now, I think? 13-0?
Yeah.
So that's very valuable, and he's showing it, right? He's looking every bit the experienced veteran right now. So with the fact that you've got a guy that's not only been there before, but a guy that's won it before, would that triumph over the Celtics? And then the Celtics, you've got the Drew Holiday factor. So not only do you have a team that's been to the finals, they added a player who has won the finals. And so I was watching the end of Game 4 with the Celtics, trying to see, did they look like an experienced team? And they did, relative to the Pacers, where in crunch time, the Pacers had turnover after turnover after turnover. And the Celtics shots, it was a mixed bag. I was looking, so it was Tatum created an open three for Derek White that missed. Jaylen Brown got all the way for a great shot that he missed a layup right at the rim. The one bad shot was Tatum took like a step back or a sidestep three, contested three that I thought was not a good shot at that time.
The Kobe system?
And then
Is that the Kobe system three? That's what I call it. I call it the Kobe system three.
The drive and the kick out for the open corner three, which, it was a three I did love, but it was a wide open three. And that wound up being, the main winning basket. Like I get frustrated at teams that take threes in crunch time when you don't need it. All you need is two. The fact that Naz Reid, that three that they took in Game 2 up in Minnesota, like you're only down one, and there's a wide open three by a guy who had been having an incredible shooting night from three all game. But at that point, why not move closer and give yourself a better chance to make it? Because all you needed was 1 point. The math, the math of three is better than two. Well, sometimes all you need is two. And like the shots that Minnesota was taking were not experienced shots. You could argue that the Dallas hasn't been taking good shots, but they've been making them. And you got two guys who not only experienced, but are great at making high degree of difficulty shots in Luka and Kyrie. And that is the Kobe system, right?
That's definitely the Kobe system. I think for Boston is in like a bit of a trick bag because Giannis has been hurt, Dame is hurt. Like their playoff road has been like, you look at it and say, oh man, they're 12-2 or whatever it is.
But also Porzingis has been hurt. Like we're not talking about that.
Yeah, they're one of their 4 best players has been hurt. And you're looking at all the stars that have been missing. You're saying, man, they lived a charmed life in these playoffs. Like maybe things are just setting up for them. They're going to have, or both teams can set up to have up to 8 or 9 days of rest if possible. I think the Celtics are in the trick bag, Jay, because of all those injuries, though. We will judge them by a perfect standard. Like they can't win by a wide enough margin. If they do, we're going to say, look at who you're playing. You're playing against the Pacers without Tyrese Halliburton. You're playing who they play in the second round. You're playing Cleveland without Donovan Mitchell. You're playing, this team without this player, like that sort of thing. You're playing Miami without Jimmy Butler, like that sort of grading on a sliding scale where the finals are the only thing that we're going to judge them by and say this is a pass fail. It ain't A, B, C, D. This is literally either you will win or we will excoriate you. And you are back to being the frauds that everybody thinks you were as far as regular season record, as far as 2022, as far as what happened last year. Like, I feel like if they don't win this year, and this is probably where they have some relation to the bad boy Pistons in a way that, like the Lakers in the days in between the finals, Byron Scott hurt his hamstring. And then in the third quarter of game 2, Magic Johnson hurt his hamstring. The series was effectively over. But basically going into that series, it was like, if you guys don't win it now, you're never going to win it. I feel like that's the case for Boston. Even if Dallas comes in on a roll, if you're not going to do it this year because you've finally gotten through everything in the Eastern Conference, you're never going to do it. And I still might pick Dallas to win the series anyway.